Just bear with me. Coming up. Okay, perfect. All right. So if everybody can see the screen, you guys will notice I have my, oh,
Real quick, Alfredo, could you run over the features and benefits of the software and what it can, the capabilities before you go into programming?
yeah, give me one sec.
Real quick, Alfredo.
Kick me out. Here we go. All right. So we're going over the 4500 series today and the benefits of the 4500 series. Basically, it's got 100 user codes by code. It's got 150 users by card. We offer our own cards. This direction will look better. We offer, and then it also offers 100 users by phone credential, like you guys see on my screen. This is my actual phone on my screen. As you guys can see, I have a link to it, so I'm not having to do this for you guys. Again, it's a medium duty lock. So what you want to put this on is on your interior office space, whether it be for office uses or closets, somewhere where it's going to get minimum, medium use traffic. Great for residential if you want to use it for the residential market. Um, Again, it comes with the 2 3/4 back set. It comes with an SC1 cylinder. Um, this one, unfortunately, we don't offer in an IC core, and we do not offer in a back-to-back format. If you want a small format IC core version, the 5510 would be the lock for you guys. Um, and we don't offer the lock in a back to back because the Bluetooth interferes with each other, so that it doesn't know what Bluetooth to communicate with. So these are just single sided locks. We only offered in a brushed steel finish for now, but if you wanted it in a flat black or polished brass, there is a lead time for that. We do offer it. There is a premium cost to it. It is going to take a few weeks for us to get it powder coated and reassembled for you, but it is an option. So if you do have those questions, reach out to Travis, reach out to Brenton, and they'll reach out to us, and we'll tell you what that lead time would be, and depending on how many you're looking for, that would be it. Um, okay, not sure what happened there. So with that being said, I'm going to jump into this 5510. I mean 4510. I'm so sorry with the programming. So most of you should have gotten the demo lock. For those that don't have the demo lock, like Travis said, there are later dates that are going to come about. Kind of just follow along, but if you want more training, join the other dates, and we can do what we're doing here. So I'm just going to close this app right now. So everybody should have downloaded the K3 Connect app, and everybody should have registered and joined it. If you open the K3 Connect app, you guys will see on mine. There's a list of locks that I already have there. Yours should be blank. Your page should be completely blank. You guys will notice that there's a plus sign and then there's icons at the bottom. The icons all do certain features. So if you kind of stroll through them, as you can see, the clients shows you the client. We call them clients. You can call them user codes. You can call them basically anything you like. But what we are calling them are clients, and these are your user codes. And as you can see, as I'm strolling up and down my list, it's giving me what I have for what lock. We try to advise people to, if you're going to use a smartphone, try to limit the lock to 20 locks per phone. If you're going to use more than 20 locks, I would recommend getting an iPad. One, because the screen on a phone is tiny. So imagine if you had 20 locks, your list will just be endless. And second, on an iPad, the screen's bigger, and honestly, you can probably manage it a lot better. And you're not taking that phone home with you. You're leaving the iPad at that premises, so its management will be very quick and easy for you guys. Um, as you guys can see on my notifications, it when you add stuff or when there's something that the log needs to notify you, it'll be under your notifications icon, and you guys will see that it was like, for example, mine showed low battery. So there's a low battery for my 4510 and there's a low battery for my 5550. Again, it's going to tell you that type of information. It's going to tell you that there's a firmware update. It's going to give you anything notifying you that there is something that you need to do to the lock. And then you got a settings icon, and the settings icon basically just gives you the settings of the lock, the user information, the legal information. So there's not, you guys really don't have to worry about that. Um, all right. So what? I'm sorry, guys. I don't know why it keeps kicking me out. There we go. So if you guys could hit the plus icon on the top right hand corner, you guys will see the next page that says add lock. And when you're adding a lock, your lock DIN, if no matter what you buy, if it's a 4510 or if you go to the bigger brother, the 5510, if you buy a 5550, if you buy a 5510 panic device, the lock DIN number is always going to be the same. So for this scenario, it's going to be capital C, capital L, no space in between, 4510, and then your lock name. Name the lock whatever you guys want to name it. For this one, we're going to call it HL Flake, as you guys can see there. And I'm going to hit the check once you name it whatever you want to name it, you're going to hit the blue check mark on your top right hand corner, and it's going to tell you searching for lock. Please make lock enter setup mode. At this moment, you're going to hit pound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're going to get a blue light, 0, 0, another blue light, and then 1. So now as you guys can see, the phone and the lock are starting to pair. So that's great. And as you guys already can see, it's starting to give me notifications that it needs a firmware update and that my batteries are running out of other stuff. So as you guys can see, it's synchronizing. It works with an iPhone or an Android device. Um, on an Android device, it's just 1 second, a little bit slower. So if it's telling you it's pairing and it's taking a second to do things, it's normal on an Android device. Not sure why. On a Apple device, it's pretty instant. As you guys can see, all data has been synchronized. And now as you guys can see on my list of locks, now I have HL Flake. If you guys will notice on my screen, you guys will see the padlock, and then it's got a little A at the bottom of it. The A just identifies it being that you're the administrator to this lock. If you're not the administrator or you're not within presence or within 30 feet of the lock, as you guys can see, my Aloha 194510, there's no padlock. So if you're not within 30 feet of the lock, or you're somewhere completely different, or you're not the administrator, you won't see that little padlock. As you guys can see, it's just a white screen. So me being the administrator, I have certain privileges to do, which is to add, delete, and make any changes I need to do with the lock. If you swipe the lock name to the left, you guys will see that there's info, logs, and sync. If you click on info, you guys will see the information on if you guys, I'm going to go back 1 second. If you swipe to the left, you hit info, it's going to show you the information of the lock. Here is everything you need to know of this lock, which would be for here, it's the HL Flake, your battery status, the manufacturer, your model number, the firmware version. If there's a new firmware, you see how it's got 1.124 and it's got a little arrow next to it. If I click on that, it's going to tell me what the new firmware that I need to do. So this information. When you get a new firmware, it's going to notify you there's a new firmware. So this is how you're going to update it. And again, it's just as simple as download firmware and follow the prompts. I'm not going to do it on this lock because this lock has a bunch of firmwares that need to be need to be updated. It's going to take quite a bit, so we're just going to skip that one for today. And then another important thing here is the pairing time. Your pairing time, as you guys can see here, it's 2026-12. So basically, I paired this. The last time this lock in my phone talked was today at 10:19 a.m. Depending on your time zone, as you guys can see, my time zone's in LA. Your time zone is going to be completely wherever you are located. So, and this is really important because if you call me and you say, hey, listen, there's something wrong with the lock, it's not working, the first thing I'm going to ask you is, when was the last time your lock and your phone talked to each other? So look at that pairing time. It's really, really important because it's going to tell you, oh, the last time they talked was 5 weeks ago. So it might be that the lock is not that it's not functioning or that it's defective. It could just be that it hasn't talked to your phone. So there might be some important updates that it needs to do. Um, Other things you're going to see here, if you guys click on it, is parameters. So if you click on parameters, this is where you get to change your master code, add and delete a submaster, um, change your master code, and do all as the necessary steps you need to do to make it more your lock. If you scroll down, you have lockdown. Lockdown just means if the event that right now you're at the premises and you need to go somewhere, but you don't have the time to start canceling out everything, you go into parameters, you hit lockdown, and you synchronize. It's about a 15-second process. Nothing will work besides the master code. So no other user codes, no other cards, no other phones will work besides the master code or the administrative lock or administrative person. Um, and then you'll see you guys have code free mode. Code free mode just means you can leave it open for a particular
Alfredo,
time.
can I stop you for a quick second?
Yes, sir.
For some reason, the screen, it's still showing the locks and it's not showing the motions as
Are
you're
you
going
on
through it.
Are you on parameters?
I can't see it on your screen.
Yeah, hold on.
I don't know.
So I stopped sharing.
Okay.
I'm gonna go ahead and share one more time.
That way everybody can see what you're doing because it wasn't showing.
Okay. Can you see my screen now?
No, sir. Oh, I can see it now.
Okay.
Okay. We see parameters now.
Okay, so should I go? I'm gonna go back again. Are you able to see everything I'm doing? So if I swipe the lock name to the left, you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Now it is. It was just frozen before.
Okay. So if you swipe the lock name to the left, again, you have info, logs, and sync. If you go under info, you're gonna see the information of the lock name, your lock ID, your battery status, the manufacturer, the model number. So in the event that you're not sure if it's a 45 or a 55, we're pretty much letting you know. Again, under firmware version, if there's a firmware, you'll see that there's the current firmware you have, and there's a little arrow. If you click on it, it gives you the update to the newest version of firmware. If you swipe it back, again, it's got, if you see, it's got a bunch of firmwares. I'm just not going to update it because it's going to take us a while, so we're just going to leave it alone. Your time zone, I'm in LA, so you'll see your time zone. So for you guys, it'll say Dallas or Houston, and then your pairing time. So again, this is the important part because if for whatever reason something's not working, it could just be that the lock needs information from your phone. So you may just need to synchronize and reconnect. So then it can say, oh, there's some firmware that I need, and it can reconnect with that. And if you kind of stroll down, you see again that you have, yeah, the screen froze again. So we're just going to do this differently. Let me stop sharing that. Okay, so if you go to parameters, am I still, do you guys still see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So if you go to parameters, this is where you're going to see your administrator. You're going to see your, as the administrator, you're able to change the master code. You're able to change the submaster. You're able to delete the submaster. As the administrator, you're able to do all these changes. Under access type, under access, this is where the lockdown comes into play. The access is basically what it tells you to lock it down. Again, if say you're in a building and there's an emergency and you have to lock the building down because you have to leave, you go under your parameters, you go under lockdown, you just toggle it so it's on, as you can see on the bot. You just turn it on, and then therefore you synchronize it. And again, it's like a 15-second process. Then you're able to leave, and everything, no code, no card, no phone will work. Only the administrator and only the administrative, whether you're the person with the master code or you're the person with the administrative permissions, is the only person that's able to come in and open the door. Under code free mode, again, if you're putting in a building and you have a Monday through Friday 8 to 5 schedule, you're able to make these changes here. So if you look at the little arrow, right now it says 0 active, but if you click on it, now you'll see that I have different time schedules. So you have 10 different schedules that you can put onto the lot. We start with 0. I know it's not the American way, but the Brits think 0 is a number. So they put 10 different schedules starting with 0. Here's where you're able to change your schedules. Here, as you can see, depending, you can do Monday through Sunday or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or every day can have a unique schedule, or every day can have 2 different schedules, however you want to do that. So just to test it here, we're going to go ahead and as you can see, I'm just going to turn it on, and I'm going to click on the actual time. And as you can see, this is how you set up your schedule. So depending on what you want it to do, how you want it to work, we're going to go ahead and add Monday. We're going to go ahead and take off Saturday and Sunday. And then I'm just going to leave it the way it is as far as my start time. So one thing I didn't say was this is on military time, because military time is the most common time. That if I say 1900 hours, everybody knows what 1900 hours is. Unlike others, if I say I wanted to close at 5, well, 5 p.m. my time, 5 p.m. Central time, 5 p.m. Eastern time. So going military time just makes it easy for everybody. So again, this is in military time. And I'm just going to hit the check mark on my top right-hand corner. And as you can see, it just brings me back to the code free mode. And it's basically just telling me, can I confirm that these are the changes I want? If you're okay with that, you're just going to hit the blue check mark again. It's going to take you to parameters. And now what you guys will notice is that under access and code free mode, it's red. So it's waiting for me to synchronize to make this change active. So right now, if I pull the lever down, it's locked. Only codes, card, or phone will work. And then we're gonna synchronize in just a second. I'm gonna keep going though. Emergency open cancellation. What that means is you can hook up the lock to a fire alarm or to a CCTV or anything that's going to trigger the authorities. The lock is going to beep. It's going to start to beep. That red beep and that red blue light or LED light is going to come on, and that beep is going to sound just to indicate to you there's an exit here. So if people are in a panic, the Audible you can hear that sound. You can know that there's an exit there, and they'll be able to leave. So once you clear the building out, or once that fire, that the emergency is over, you can come in here and cancel that emergency scenario. And then you got your auto relock delay. And basically what it is, when you come in and you punch in your code, you have 5 seconds to to pull the lever down so the door can open. You can change that from 5 seconds to 2 seconds, all the way to 30 seconds. Meaning, again, if you leave it for 30 seconds, you're able to pull this lever down and open the door until 30 seconds expire. So we always just like to leave it at 5 seconds. Some people like to leave it at 2 seconds. That's up to you guys, but it's at default comes in at 5 seconds. And then if you kind of continue to scroll down, you get your feature selections. Your feature selections means, do you want the code to be active? Do you want the card to be active? And there's a little icon that says net code. If you guys have your locks with you, that net code is off. If you guys don't mind turning that on for me. So again, it's going to look like this. If you guys don't mind turning that on, and then your feature selection will have all 3 active. It's going to turn red again. Just remember, it's going to turn red because of the simple fact that it's waiting for you to synchronize. And then the bottom one, it says guest code. Um, if you turn on your net code, you're going to get another selection that says net code and the features. So here we go. So see, now it says net code. So now the net code is just basically, you're going to leave it on mode. You're going to leave it standard both. And then because what you want to leave, why you want to leave it on standard both is you're able to change the time on your net code. And we're going to get into net code in just a little bit, but I'm going into this because of the feature selections. So the standard both means you're able to do certain features to that. You're able to change it to a one-time net code or all the time. And then the URM is for rental properties, and the ACC is for long-term rental accommodations. So we're going to leave it on standard both. And then the other features, block netcode user. So if you assign a netcode, you're able to block that netcode for a particular time, or if you don't want that time to come to end, you're able to block that out. And new blocks previous, if you say you assign a netcode for a particular time and date, and that person leaves before their expiration date, you can assign a new netcode, and once that person types in that code, it's going to delete the previous one. And then your grace period. Your grace period just means if you assign a code and you want to give this person 15 minutes prior or 15 minutes after, so you're just going to give them a 2-minute grace period, or a 15-minute grace period is your maximum. So that means they can use the code 15 minutes before the actual start time and 15 minutes after the end time. We're going to skip guest code. Guest code doesn't really apply. Guest code is if you had like a small bed and breakfast, and you're going to assign not a net code, but a code to a particular user. But you as the administrator have to go to the lock and have to tell the lock, I want this code to be valid between this time and this time, this duration of time and date, and then you have to give that permission to the person. So it's not really using the app, it's more using the personally being in front of the lock. So again, the option is there, but I don't think you guys are going to use it. And then you got your day lockout. Your day lockout is just basically if you go to lunch from 12 to 1, you're able to lock out the no code, or if you have it open from 8 to 5, but you want it to stay open from 12, or to stay locked down from 12 to 2, you're able to do so. And then you have your keypad illumination. Your keypad illumination means this keypad, as you see right now, it doesn't illuminate. If I do it, you can do it on proximity, and then you can tell it your start hour and your end hour, or you could do it on a button pressed. So when you press a button, the keypad will illuminate. For this one, we're just going to do a proximity. We're going to hit the blue check mark on your top right-hand corner. And then you also, again, it's in red. It's just waiting for you guys to synchronize. Your others is your daylight savings. Your daylight savings is if you want this lock to, it's automatic, so you don't need to make any changes to it. If you needed to, if you wanted to, you can. I know some states don't have daylight savings, so here you can turn it off, as you can see there. And then your REM, your REM behavior, that's the one leading back to the emergency cancellation. As you can see, it's default at remote release, so you can hook up a wire, lead it to the secretary release button, and you can release the lock that way. Or if you have a sensor that, if you guys have some kind of sensor mode, you're able to do that. It also has a sensor alert. So if you wanted to basically, if you have a CCTV to alert somebody that the lock has been open, you're able to do that. Again, it's not, all these modes aren't Bluetooth. You have to hook it up to the lock with the wire and lead that to wherever control system you have. But those options are there. So we're going to stroll back all the way up. If you guys just can hit the locks icon, you guys will see that HL Flake is in red. So it's just telling you it needs to synchronize with the lock. So if you swipe, again, if you swipe the lock name to the left and you hit sync, all the information that I'm doing is updating to the lock. So now all data is synchronized. So if you guys remembered, when I was pulling the lever down before, nothing happened. Now if I pull it down, it stays open. So because if you guys recall, I had it open between 9 a.m. to 1900 hours. And as you guys can see on my little icon there, that little green padlock is on. It's just identifying to me or to your administrator that that lock is open. So in case somebody were to, if I wasn't present and someone calls me up and says, hey, listen, is the lock supposed to be open? I just go on my app and say, oh yeah, it's open because I left it open. Or it's open because I'm on a schedule. So that's where you're going to be able to see that. So I'm just going to quickly go ahead and swipe again to the left. I'm going to go ahead and hit info. I'm going to turn that off just because I want you guys to see other things. So I'm going to go back to parameters, code free mode, turn that off, hit the blue check mark. Again, that's in red. So I'm going to hit the locks icon. Again, HL Flake is in red. So I'm going to swipe it to the left. I'm just going to hit sync. And now again, that doesn't work. And what you guys will see is that now the keypad illumination turns on. So before it didn't do that because it was open, but now as you guys can see, as I'm moving my hand and blocking out the sensor, the keypad turns on. So just remember, the more features you have on, the faster you're gonna use up your battery. So now I'm gonna go ahead and add clients. So if you go to your clients icon, you guys will see my list of locks. But if you guys get to HL Flake, the only code that I have on there is from Matt, and it's 8989. So me being the administrator, I'm the only one that gets to see this information. If you were to look on Matt's phone, all Matt sees is he has permissions to HL Flake. That's all he has. So right now, nothing works, as you guys can see. But if I punch in 8989, it turns blue and it works. I'm going to go ahead and again add a user code. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a card. Then I'm going to go ahead and add a phone credential. And then we're going to talk about net code. So right now, I'm just so you guys can see, this card doesn't work. So that card does not work. I'm going to go ahead and hit on your client's icon. Go ahead and hit the plus sign on your top right hand corner. As you guys can see under type, you have all the different functions. So for this one, we're going to go ahead and hit code. We're going to hit the forward arrow because it's telling me what type of what type of client I'm gonna add, and I'm confirming I want a code. Hit the forward arrow. It's gonna tell you what lock you want to put this on. Again, I have a list of locks. You might just have that one lock, but as your list gets longer, this is how you're gonna do that. I'm gonna hit HL Flake. Under lock name, it's standard. Under access type, this is where you're able to make your changes. If I want this code to be all the time, which is standard, with, or if you want to do this code for a one time, or if you want to add a technician. So a technician code means if, like, if you have a pool guy, if you have a maintenance guy, the landscaping personnel, the housekeeping personnel, that you're going to want them to have technician codes. And the reason for that is depending on how you're granting access, technician codes basically work all the time. If you're granting access to an individual, you're going to restrict their times. So again, you go back, we're going to leave it at standard. And then my active periods. So this is also another feature that we're giving you is if you want to give users particular times. So this code is only valid Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. Or if you're a manager, this code is valid from Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday 24/7. However you want to restrict those times, you're able to do so. And again, you have 10 different time zones, so every day can be unique. So we're not going to do that for today. We're just going to leave them on all time. Under client's name, we're going to go ahead and put J. And then in parentheses, I always put the number that I'm going to hand out. The reason for it is in the event that management changes and not everybody keeps track of their information, at least you know what code you gave Jay. So in the event that you're taking over that lock or you're taking over those responsibilities, and for whatever reason, let's say you get rid of Jay and you don't know what his code is, so you're not sitting there having to delete everything and reinstall everything. To me, in parentheses, you just put the code. So again, I put 1414. So now you're going to go under your code icon and hit 1414. You're going to confirm 1414. And now go ahead and hit the add button. For those some of you might have a screen that comes up with numbers and blocks the add button. Just hit any of the gray bars and that number keypad will come down so you're able to view the add button. So do that and then go ahead and hit add. And then it tells you please synchronize with the lock so all the process is complete. Remember, every change that you do, whether you add or delete, you always have to synchronize. So now you don't have to synchronize right away. So you can make all your changes, you can delete all your users or add all your users and then synchronize. So that's what we're going to do here. As you can see, J is in red, and if I type in 1414, it doesn't work. So I'm gonna just go ahead, just so you guys can kind of get the feel for it. I'm gonna synchronize this just for J, and then the other two I'm just gonna wait to the very end. So we're in clients. Go ahead and hit the locks icon, swipe it to the left, and hit sync, and it's updating the information. All data is synchronized. Now, again, now if you go to the clients and you see J, that's not in red anymore. And now if I type in 1414, I'm able to pull the lever down. So that's how easy that is. So now we're going to go ahead and add a card client. So we're going to hit the plus sign. Under type, we're going to hit card. And if you had a list of cards that you've already registered to other locks, if you click choose known card, you can have a list of cards that you might have already issued to other people. So if you had another phone, if you had different phones, or different locks, you can choose a known card. As you guys can see, my list is very long. The one thing you guys will notice here, it's this Hilton card. Most Hilton hotels use MyFair technology. So if you had a Hilton hotel card, it's it can work with our lock. So again, if you have those businesses that might like hotels that smaller, Embassy Suites or any smaller Hiltons that you guys service, you may want to think about putting this lock on some of their service doors or laundry doors because you can use their card to enroll to this lock, and therefore just think about it in the sense of the the guest doesn't have to have a different type of access to that laundry room or to the pool room or to the fitness center. They can use the same card. So again, I'm not going to choose a card. So for this one, you're going to leave it under card. You're going to hit the blue forward arrow. Again, you're going to choose the lock that you want to choose it in. And as you can see, it's telling you your lock name, your access type. Again, do you want this card to be active all the time, or you're able to use this card one time? And your active periods, you're able to actively put people however you want this card to function to this lock. We're gonna leave it at all the time. Again, so you're gonna click on that little blue setup lock, click there, and now it's waiting for the card. I believe it already did the blue. If it hasn't already, there you go. And then it tells you sync client's information. So you click it there. And now it's synchronizing. So now this card was already in there as a demo. So as you guys can see, new client demo, which is this card, is now active to the lock. So before when you guys saw me, I tapped it, it didn't work. Now if I do it, it's gonna work. And there you go. So that gives you the blue light, and now you're able to pull the lever down. You just hit OK. The cards automatically synchronize, so you don't need to synchronize it. As you guys can see on my screen, it says demo. The card automatically synchronizes, so there's no need for you to go back and synchronize the lock. And now I'm just going to go ahead and add another phone client. Now this is where it kind of gets a little fun. So if you want to add a phone client, again, you go under add your plus, you go to clients, you hit the plus sign on your top right hand corner under type. You're going to hit phone, and you're going to enter a client email here. So again, if you had another phone, another lock, or multiple locks, and you already had added phone clients, you guys will see that there's a bunch of emails that I've already set up for different types, um, and one of them being Jay Murray. So we're just going to go ahead and select Jay because I already have his email address. Say you didn't have the email address, all you got to do on that is just type in that person's email address. Just like that, and it's gonna automatically know if you do have it or don't have it. Here we're gonna go ahead and just again we're gonna select Jay's email address. So see how it's connecting. It's gonna say okay, Jay is a valid user. So we're waiting for Jay. If it's an invalid email, it's gonna automatically tell you when you hit add. It's going to automatically tell you it's an incorrect email or it's a bogus email. The reason for it is when you're handing phone credentials, that customer or that client also has to download the app and also has to register, create an account in essence. So then the lock or the cloud knows that this is a valid person. Here we're going to give a permission to Jay for my HL Flake lock. And again, as you guys can see, it says the user. I want to send this user as J Murray or J emeryarchitectural.com. Lock name HL Flake. My access type is going to be standard. Same concept. I can just give them a one-time access. We're going to leave it at standard. Same thing. My active periods. You can Tell Jay how you want him to come into this lock. If you want him 24/7, then you leave it alone. If you want to restrict this time, you're able to do so. And then you can write a quick message. You can tell Jay, this is for the front door. Jay, this is for the back door. However, you can write a quick message to the person and then letting them know what it is. So as you guys can see, I hit entered and then it sent a request. So the request has been sent. Now, if you guys look at my screen, it just says Jay Murray and it's in red. Jay should have gotten that invitation. And if he can show us his screen, as you guys can
I'm
see,
waiting for the invitation.
you actually already clicked it.
Oh, I did?
Yeah. So if you guys quickly noticed, my name Jay was in red, but once he clicked it and accepted it, it turned black. So meaning he's already accepted the invitation to use the lock. Now, if he was within premises, now he's in Texas, I'm in California, but if he was within 30 feet of the lock, he's able to open the lock with his phone. The nice thing about the little icons here, if you look at them, all the icons have what card. So if I'm using a card, it tells you that demo is a card client. If I was going to use code, it's got the little keypad. So J is a code client. If I'm using a phone, it's saying Jay Murray is a phone client, and again, Matt is a code client. So it breaks them down for you, so it makes it easier for you to identify how these people are coming in or which one you're really assigning to. And again, if you go to your notifications, it just tells you that Jay was added to HL Flake. Um, and again, if you kind of scroll down to my list, I have a lot of clients code just for testing purposes. So now we're going to dive into net code. Um, I hope I haven't lost any of you. I hope it's and I want to really apologize. It's definitely a second delayed, so I'm a second above what the screen is showing you. So that's why you hear me pausing, because I want the screen to kind of catch up. So I'm very sorry for that.
I'm looking at the chat and everything looks like it's going very smoothly.
Okay. So now we're going to get into netcode, and netcode is why I left netcode all the way to the end is really because it's a unique application. Netcode is a particular code for duration of time or duration of days. If you're doing time, a duration of time is basically a duration for today. It's a 24-hour basis. So basically, if I want to generate a code for today, and I want this code to start at 8 a.m., I want it to go all the way to maximum is 12 hours. So from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. So therefore, I can do up to 12 hours in that particular day. But now, if I want to generate a code at 6 p.m., remember, because it's within that exact same date, I only have, so from 6 p.m., 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, I have 6 hours left. So even if you select a 12-hour duration, and within that today, June 12th, 2020, if I generate a code at 6 p.m. and I select, I want this duration to be 12 hours, technically, I only have 6 more hours in the day. So it's only going to be working till 11:59 p.m. So I hope I didn't lose any of you there, but that is on duration of time. Duration of days, if I want to generate a code for 2 days, it's basically 2 full days. So starting at midnight on 6/12/2020, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. on 6/13. So you can't say I want it to be active from like a hotel from 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. 3 days later. No, it's 2, 3, up to 7 full days. So I'm sure someone's gonna ask questions, so Jay, I'll let you interrupt me when you're there.
No, nobody's asking questions as of yet.
Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and keep going. Then I'm gonna go back to my client's icon. I'm gonna hit the plus sign in my top right hand corner. Under type, I'm gonna go net code. I'm gonna go to the forward arrow. I'm gonna choose my lock again, which is HL Flake. Under my mode, I want it standard both. Under my time zone, it's again LA time. For you guys, I mean, again, I don't think if you do give out locks and you guys are going to use generate net codes, unless it's going to go to a completely different state, you want to program the lock in front of your office, in front of your workbench. If you're going to ship this lock to, if you're in Texas and you're going to ship it to Oklahoma, no, because Oklahoma is the same time zone.
Albuquerque.
Exactly. Okay, so if you're in Texas and you're going to ship it to Albuquerque, make sure you program the lock in Texas so that time zone reads, Central Time, which is Dallas, so it reads your time. Because if you're the administrator and you ship it to Albuquerque and it's not programmed in your time zone, it, again, I'm here in California, so I'm 2 hours behind you. If you hit, I want it to start at 11 a.m. Technically, it's not going to start. It's already started because in California, 11 a.m. I mean, it's technically. Do I make sense, or
You're
do I?
basically going to have to do the math to compensate for where the lock was originally set up at.
Right. So you can't. Oh, I want to generate a net code and do 11 a.m. Texas time, but the lock is programmed in Albuquerque. No, it's not going to be 11 a.m. your time. It's going to be 9 a.m. my time. So that's why you have to make sure that the lock, wherever you're going to ship it to, which again, I don't think that's the scenario for you guys, but just in the event that you do ship a lock out of a different time zone, that it's programmed to your time zone. Um, but again, I don't think you guys will have the problem. I just have to say that in the event that it does happen. And if it does happen and you guys aren't sure, again, just give us a call. We'll walk you through it. And unfortunately, once it's programmed, unless you get it back to you, you're gonna have to just do the math. But um, for now, we're gonna leave it at time zone is LA time. My type, I want you can change it to whichever time you want. You could do this to be a one time, 1 hour, or all the time. We're gonna leave it at all the time. And as you can see, my start date 6/12. You can generate a code to do. I mean, you can do a future code if you want. You can do something in September. Basically, it's up to you how you generate this net code. And then that's the beauty of it is if you're sitting in a property where you kind of have to think in advance, you can do the net codes in advance and then just jot them down for your distribution purposes. So every day or every month or however you want to send these net codes, that on this date, this is the net code on this date or on this month or however you want to do that. So we're just gonna leave it for today. And then my start hour, we're not gonna. I'm gonna skip the start hour, but let's say just for giggles here, my start hour for my netcode will be at 11 a.m. And as you guys can see, how long do I want this netcode to be? I can click up to 12 hours from 11 a.m. So it'll be basically 11 p.m. Or I can do it just 1 hour. It's up to you how many hours you want to have this netcode last. So I'm gonna hit cancel because what I want to do is just so we don't get confused. I'm gonna go duration of day. So how long do I want these netcodes to be? So by default, you have 7 days that you can generate a net code, and it's basically catered to that Airbnb or that bed and breakfast or um, somewhere where no more than 7 days. And in reality, when you go on a vacation, unless you're going to Hawaii or the Bahamas, where you're really going to go all out for a vacation. You're staying at a bed and breakfast for a couple of days. We're thinking no more than 7 days. So um, again, if you do encounter that you need a longer duration of days, that's what the URM and the ACC come in hand. So on the net code, when I had you guys turn on net code and then change the standard both, you guys saw there was a ACM and a URM. Um, and that's what the URM is up to 28 days. This ACC is up to 365 days. Now there's disclaimers with both of those. If you're going to do 28 days, up to 28 days, you got to remember if on the 15th day the person decides to check out, you can't generate a new netcode until the 28th day expires. Same concept applies for the 365 days. If you generate a code for 365 days, and say on the 100th day the person says, I'm no longer going to stay with you, you can't generate a new code until the remaining 265 days come to be. So that's why we're saying it's easy to use it this way, because it's a lot for 7 days. If someone wants to stay an additional 2 days, then you just generate a new code after the 7th day for another 2 days. So you could just tell the customer, on the 8th day, you're going to get a new code, just adding confirmation to your 2 new days. So on this one, we're going to leave it at 1. We're going to go ahead and hit generate. And as you guys can see, it says generated netcode *193170. Here I have the option to share this. And as you guys can see, you can share it via text message. You can, if you're using an iPhone, you can airdrop it. You can send it via email, via text message, via LinkedIn. I mean, the options, we give you quite a bit of options how you want to do that, and you can add more. You can Facebook it, MySpace, Teams, Zoom, however you want to do it. Since again, we got Jay here. We're just gonna send it to Jay. And again, you can custom make this message. You know, it just says this netcode is *193170, and then it says you can unlock the door, and you can change it. You can say you can unlock HL Flake from whatever time to it. If you don't want to give them those times, you could just delete those times. Again, the nice thing about it is you can really make your message custom to you. So we're just going to go ahead and send it to Jay. Jay should be getting a message pretty soon.
I got it.
So again, in his screen, what you'll see is his message is just telling him he can unlock the door for HL Flake. And Jay, what's that code again?
It's *193170.
Sorry. *19.
3170.
And that opens your door. So again, so the net code, you don't have to be present to generate that code. The log can be in an oil field somewhere in the middle of Texas, or 2 minutes from you, or 2 hours, and you can generate the net code. The net code is an algorithm that's already pre-assembled or pre-installed on the lock, that once you synchronize, once you make connection, and that's when I had you guys turn on that netcode feature, and you synchronize it, the phone sends all the pre-dated codes to the lock. The lock now knows that on this particular time, on this particular date, this code is able to open it. So again, if you had it in an oil rig somewhere in the middle of Texas, and they said, hey, I need you to generate a code for me because the maintenance guy is going to come in, you don't have to drive 4 hours to that rig to make sure that that you're able to open that lock. You could just sit on your phone and generate this code, and the lock will work. I hope that makes sense for everybody. And if not, again, let us know, because I know netcode is one of those that you might not understand it the first time, you might not understand it the second time. I still sometimes forget certain things that the netcode does, so it's a tedious feature, but it's a great feature to have.
So when you set it up originally with your phone, iPad, or whatever the credential is, you're the administrator, and it sets up an algorithm with that particular lock. They're married basically for all intents and
Correct.
purposes, and it will follow it along. So I can't make changes. If Alfredo sent me a link to open up the lock with my phone, I can't make any changes. Is that
Correct. Correct. It just all you're getting as the receiver is the code to grant you access to the door. And as you guys as you saw on my screen, you're able to custom make that message. So you can really just leave if I hit the generate again, it's the same exact code. But if I want to send the message again to Jay, you can leave the message as it is, and it's just telling him you can unlock HL Flake from today 0000 hours to tomorrow 0000 hours. So basically from today at midnight all the way to today at 11:59 p.m. So you can custom make it if you want to make it more universal and say you have 2 days, so it'll be valid from June 12 at 8 a.m. to June 13 at 7 p.m. They don't need to necessarily know the exact times, but if you want to custom make it to something more unique to you, you're able to do so.
endless possibilities with netcode.
Yes, you have really a big array of the possibilities that you can do. So now, if you guys go back to your locks icon and you swipe the lock name to the left, what you guys will see is the info, the logs, and the sync. Why I didn't touch these till now is because I made all these changes to the lock. So if you hit your logs icon, you guys will see everything I've done up for today to this lock. If you had other locks, again, you go to your logs, you're able to see day by day what you've done. So as you guys can see, my 50/50 deadbolt has had a lot more action than my HL Flake. So, and again, it just gives you a log of everything that's gone under. So, and then you guys can see it gives you, if I'm unlocking it, it gives you the person that I locked it. I set a master code and it tells you the time I set that master code. It tells you access denied, and then code free mode off, code free mode on. So if there is ever something that's gone wrong, you have this information. Okay, well, what happened on March 10th? Well, okay, well, it was on passage mode, so it was left on. Oh, okay, then you can go to your settings and see, oh, I didn't realize that we had left it on. So if something, you have all of that information. And then as you see, it's got
Up
your
to
tests.
2,000 past events.
Yep, up to 2,000 cycles. The oldest one always drops out. So basically, if I strolled all the way to the very end of this, sorry, it's
And a neat feature too is if you were to set up a user and they no longer work with that particular company, and like Alfredo was saying, you put in the name and then parentheses, put in that code, you can basically block them, and you can see every attempt they try to come back in.
correct. So as you guys can see on my 50/50 deadbolt, my oldest one is from 2018. So say there was 2,000 cycles and these were the last two. As you guys can see, it's still giving me a date, a year, and a time that this happened. So these eventually, if someone else comes in and punches in 2 more times, these two are the last ones to drop out. Another cool feature is you can share this information. So it's now going to grab all that information, and you can send it in a text message form. So if I needed to quickly send it to Jay, I can do that. Or you can do it in an Excel spreadsheet. If you click Outlook, it, it puts it in Excel, and then you can email it to whoever, and it comes out in an Excel format, and it gives you just what we talked about: the time, the date, and who came in. So it's a very nice feature to have as well. And again, it's not like you have to download it and go to another computer and upload it and then email it to somebody. I can just call up Jay and say, hey Jay, can you go up to the 5050, download the audit trail to it? If obviously if he being the administrator, he can download it and email it to me really quick without having to, well, hold on, I got to download it. Hold on, I got to walk another 100 feet to the computer, download it from there, and then send it. So it's another 45. And honestly, we know that it's not like you just walk down, grab it, and then there's other stuff that comes in between. So it might be an hour before you're able to get this information to me as to where if I walk up to the lock, download the information there, hit the share button, and voila, now I can email it and or text it or Facebook it, however I want to send it to Jay, I'm able to do so. So they're all very nice features that the lock have. Um, and then again, remember your synchronization button is just any changes you make to the lock, as simple as just adding or deleting a user, to as complex as changing times, changing master codes, adding 20 users and deleting 15 users. Anything you do, you have to synchronize because the lock does not know the changes you've done to your phone until you're fully synchronized with the lock. And then if you go to your notifications, again, it just gives you notifying what's going on. If you had a list of things, it would tell you. As you guys can see, my Aloha needs new batteries and my 5050 needs new batteries. Again, the settings is just telling you your user info. So I'm the user. I'm the that's my email address. It's registered to this lock. You can change your password if you want this to then, and then you can back up to the cloud. A lot of the questions come up with, "Oh, what happens if I lose my phone?" The lock automatically uploads to the cloud. But let's say today you weren't in the office and you lost your phone today. The only thing you're losing is not able to retrieve the audit for today. But if you go to your lock and you synchronize with your new phone, you're going to retrieve all that information from that day that you lost. The other thing is that's why you have to have a valid email address, is because if you're going to log in from a new phone, all that backup to the cloud is going to come to your phone. So that is why a good email address is important, because if not, if you give a bogey email address or an email address that you don't even have the passwords to, you're never going to retrieve the information because it's going to send you a confirmation or digital four digit code indicating that you are valid. You are the valid user. Um, and then another important thing here that I didn't discuss was the app version. Now, for Apple, most of the time when Apple releases a new update to iOS, I think they're iOS 13.5 or something now. The app is going to automatically update because all of Apple devices use the same platform. On an Android device, you may need to go and manually update it because I don't think Android does that automatically. And depending on the maker of the Android, it might not allow you to download from an unsourced device. So you manually have to go up there into your settings, onto your app, and update it manually. So those are just things that as people call you and say, "Well, I have an Android and it still doesn't work." It might not be the lock; it's actually the information that's on it. And then I always like to turn on sending diagnosis logs. It's because if there's a corrupt file or something that gets downloaded incorrectly, or by some chance something happens, the app sends the information to the developer so we can catch some of these bugs. Um, and I believe that is it, guys.
No, hang on, I'm trying to start my video. I don't believe that's it. Alfredo, you want to talk about our
Oh yes,
wireless gateway?
yes, we have a
So there's more features and benefits you can do with this lock. So you can sell this lock directly to your customer and they can manage it. And or you can manage it by saying, 7-Eleven or whatever the case is, and you can manage it from your platform, your phone or iPad or.
Okay, so what Jay was talking about, and he's absolutely right. So this little bridge, where are you? Okay, so this little bridge, I'm trying to hold this so you guys can see the whole thing. This is a bridge to the lock. Why I say it's a bridge, because this hooks up, as you guys can see, it just has a USB port, and you can get your phone, your charger to your iPhone or your Android, plug in the square and plug it into a power source. What this little bridge does is it's literally a bridge between your lock and your phone using Wi-Fi connection. So if you look at my screen, if you look at the 5510 deadbolt, it's got a padlock, but it's got like a little green Wi-Fi image on there, and so does my server room. So right now, if I wanted to, if someone in our Rancho Cucamonga office needed to get access to our server room, let's say for example our general manager Matt, if he was in front of that door and he said, "Hey, I need to get access to the server room," I can sit here and just click on that. And as you can see, it's because please confirm, do you want to remote unlock? So this is going to send an information to the cloud. The cloud is going to send the information via Wi-Fi to this bridge. This bridge is going to transmit or translate that information to Bluetooth, so then the lock is able to unlock. So if someone was standing in the office, or Matt was standing right now in the office, it would tell him the server room has been unlocked. He can gain access to it, or Jay or whoever, as you guys can see that. So
And you can have up to how many users or locks on this
So
bridge?
with one bridge, you can do up to 8 different locks as long as you're within 30 feet of those locks. So you can centralize the bridge and then connect up to 8 different locks, as long as they're all within 30 feet of this bridge. The beauty of it is just a bridge. It's not a full blown access that you can hook this up to a computer. But where it comes in hand is, again, Airbnbs or bed and breakfast, where they might not have 300 rooms, they have 5, 6, 7 rooms. So you're able to put one of these. So then if I'm at home, especially with this COVID, you know, scenario that we're all going through, it's a nice way of you managing a lock without having to be present. So this is an accessory to the lock. This will make the lock more or less be Wi-Fi. Another key feature is, in the event that your power goes out, you don't have to worry about, oh my God, the lock stayed open. Most Wi-Fi locks, once the power goes off, it stays open. So now you have to drive 4 hours, 2 hours, however far away it is, to lock the lock. If this bridge goes down, you can rest assured, because this is battery operated, that the lock isn't open.
Very cost-effective solution for a single door or multiple door access control system with audit trail and multiple options on code access or credentials.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Question for you on the push button relay on that, or the push button connection. Is that going to be working off of battery, or would you have to have a 12 or 24 volt adapter to work that?
For the lock or for the bridge?
For the lock itself? I understand what you're talking about, the bridge, but I'm talking about at a person at a desk unlocking the door or something with a push button control.
Yeah, you're not, I'll answer that. You don't need voltage. It's just a closing the contact. So you would have to run a wire to it and plug into the port on the board. And then they're just pushing a button literally and closing the contact. There are some remote control units out there that would mount onto the door, and you'd run the wire from that unit into the bridge. But again, the battery that's needed on the unit for that is just for the receiver of the signal from the remote controller. It's not for purpose of unlocking the lock. As soon as the board contacts close on the two wires attached to that port on the board, then the motor goes ahead and operates.
Okay, so, well, I guess being that close, or having that remote on the door as well, that person at the desk could use a button, or else use the app on their phone to open the door, correct? Just in the same sense.
If they're within Bluetooth distance 30 feet and they're a user that's been given access rights on their phone, on the app on their phone, then yes, they could sit there at the desk, push the unlock on the app on the phone, and the door will unlock.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. In that case, you don't need any remote. This would be more in a case where the person doing the unlocking is located more. And again, we have that button there, although frankly, it very rarely gets used because nobody wants to run a wire into the door to the lock.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, one more question for you. I kind of had to get up and move a minute ago, and you were talking about the California time, the Texas time, and I have the lock, and it is set on Chicago, which I believe is an hour ahead of where we're at. And I missed the part of how to reset, or do we have to contact?
So you're, my understanding, you're in the right time zone because Chicago is too. You're in
That's
Central
Eastern.
Time.
It shows it that's in Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, Chicago is actually in Central. I'm in Indiana, and we're this far west as it goes in Eastern. Chicago's in the next time zone.
Oh, I think I know what. Okay, so if you look at your, it says Chicago and it says -3, correct?
I had to get back to it again.
All right, let me show you here. Hold on.
Yes.
Okay, so it's because the locks are okay. If you remember, I said I went back to saying about the military time. Also,
Yes.
the locks are set up in the UTM time zone, correct, Matt?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's Greenwich Mean Time. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's why it's going to show -3. It's because the time zone that the locks were generated in is UTC time zone.
So that's not where it's at right now is not going to be a problem for where we are.
No, sir. As long as it shows you the correct, like Chicago, then you're in the right time zone. If it shows Los Angeles, then I'm in the right time zone. If it shows New York, then you're in the correct time zone.
Okay. That's what I was curious about. All right. Appreciate you.
And
You're welcome.
let me add something here too. Alfredo is, as he said, our senior technical person. If once you get programming these, using these, you run into problems, you can contact him anytime, and he will also help you troubleshoot. So don't feel like you have to walk away from today or these sessions knowing everything. We want you to have a comfort level, but undoubtedly there'll be questions you end up having, and that's where Alfredo comes in.
Okay. Well, I appreciate that. But I do know you said it was going to be on YouTube as well. If I wanted to go back and watch it again.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it is. It's on YouTube right now. It's live streaming to YouTube. So it's on the HL Flake YouTube.
Yeah, so again, guys, I mean, it sounds like I was pausing a lot, but it just, the screen here, we've done these a few times and it's worked fine up to today, where my screen was just a little behind showing the screen on, or I was way ahead from showing the screen on the actual computer. So I was trying to wait for that to catch up. So I was like stopping and going. But again, like Matt said, if you guys have questions or concerns, it's on YouTube. It's not, just reach out to Jay, reach out to Travis, reach out to me, um, reach out to Matt, and we'll all help you some way, somehow. And but yeah, that's, there was a question from Mr. Tilley. If he hasn't, if he still has it, you're saying that your lock won't turn blue. Is there a way you can gun on the mic, sir, so you can kind of, it'll specify what you mean by it won't turn blue? Or if you can type me your question again.
Yeah, my lock will, when I'm trying to go into the programming mode,
Uh-huh.
punch in the pound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I punch in 0, 0. Then I try to punch in 1. My lock is not doing nothing.
Okay, so remember, you have to wait till the screen tells you put lock into setup mode, because now the Bluetooth on your phone is
Okay.
looking for the Bluetooth on the lock. If you do that before the lock tells you or the prompt tells you, the Bluetooth is just sending the signal, but it's not catching anything on the phone.
But my phone is not detecting the lock.
So it's not on your actual Bluetooth settings. So let me, if you give me a sec, I'll share my screen again.
Is your Bluetooth on?
Yes,
Okay.
What kind of phone are you using?
an Android.
What kind of Android?
I got a grandpa's phone.
But it is a smart phone, right?
Yeah, it's supposed to be smarter than me, but it ain't.
Okay. So again, just here, let me see if I could do this real quick again. Just bear
I
with
mean,
me.
I've tried to change. I took and went by the way to set it to the factory code.
Okay, so if you, again, if you go on to, if you look at my screen, if you go on to, you're gonna hit the plus sign. You're gonna hit under the lock DIN, you're gonna hit capital C, capital L, 4510, and then whatever you want to name the lock. We're just gonna hit demo. When you're at this point, you're gonna hit the blue check mark on your top right hand corner, and now it's gonna, now the Bluetooth on the lock, now the Bluetooth on the phone is sending the signal to the lock. At this moment, you're gonna hit pound 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You're gonna get a blue light, 0, 0, another blue light, and then 1. And now
I'm not getting the blue lights.
okay, when are you getting a blue, or are you getting a red light?
Yep.
Okay, when are you getting that red light?
As soon as I start punching the numbers in.
Okay, so your keypad might just be sensitive. Sometimes if you press too hard, you're double pressing the number. So as you can see, if you press too hard, you're double pressing that number. So you might want to tap every single button instead of pushing hard.
Okay. It's CL 4500, right?
4510.
Okay, 4510.
If you see my screen, it's on my screen.
That's capital. Yes, sir.
Capital C, capital L, 4510.
Okay, we're going. Okay, then I hit the check mark, right?
Yes, hit the check mark on your top right hand corner. It's going to tell you searching for lock.
See, I'm trying to punch in the.
Are you sure you're hitting the pound sign and not the star?
I am hitting the pound sign.
Okay, so go again.
The what?
Try it again. Try pound. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
It's red. It's turning red.
Yeah, so I think you're double pressing them. So see if you push it, you see how you might be pushing too
I
hard.
really lightly pushed it that time, and nothing happened.
Well, right now it's locked you out, so you got to wait 30 seconds.
Hey, Mr. Dave, we can contact you directly, after this and see if we can tech support it with Brenton and go from there.
Okay.
Would that work?
Yep, that'll work.
Okay, excellent.
Or otherwise, I'm gonna let my dog dig up a hole out here.
Yes, sir. Does anybody else have any other further questions before we, I guess, end this? Is that correct?
Quick question for you. When it comes to sending setting the code lock to unlock with your email, is it possible that even though you're the administrator, that you can use the email that you registered the account with and then send yourself email access? Or
No, because you're the administrator, so you're basically the one managing this lock. So you're not able to you're not going to be able to email yourself an access code, because the way the email is going to read it is you're already the administrator. Why do you need another access?
okay, thank you.
I'd say if you have a different email address, you could send a user code to that other email address. But yeah, the email address, you're either an administrator or a user.
Christopher Knight, did you have a question? I see your hand was raised.
He asked, is the entire line of the code locks available on the HL Flake website? Anything we sell is accessible through HL Flake. I'm not sure if every product, because we've got key cabinets and some other stuff, but
Right. Yeah, I think, most of the mechanical and electronic code locks are available on the HL Flake site. But as Jay was saying, I think you're right. I don't think we have all the key cabinets and every single piece and part listed on the site. But we do have access to sell anything that Codelocks makes.
Exactly. If you see a product on our website or somewhere else, and you'd like a price or availability, contact HL Flake. They can help you with it, even if you don't see it on their website.
Right.
we got one more question. I've synced the lock to my phone, but when I try to unlock it from the app, it doesn't work. Are you touching?
All you got to do is just tap on the lock name. So HL Flake, just tap on it and it's gonna unlock it for you. You don't have to swipe it, you don't have to do anything. All you gotta do is just tap. As you guys can see, just tap and it unlocks.
Mm-hmm.
Quick question. Is this particular lock, is this in the catalog already?
Yes. Yeah, we have both of these, both the 4510 and the 5510. We have them in stock. And since we're talking about stocking them, we actually have them on sale. We have them on at 25% discount for the month of June. So which makes these locks very affordable.
Okay. Appreciate it.
So, thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Yeah. Thank you guys very much. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. For anybody that was on here again that did not receive a demo lock, if you signed up too late or if you didn't receive it, I'm going to go through the chat and see who mentioned that they don't have it. But if you will, if you don't mind emailing me, my email is travis.howell, Howell, at hlflake.com. And just let me know that whether you did or did not receive the demo lock, and we will get that out to you. And just stay tuned. We're scheduling 2 more sessions for the next month. So we'll get those dates announced, and you won't have to pay again to join the webinar in the future. So we'll just add you to that registration. So, all right.
Guys, there's one more question.
Yeah.
Emilio, can you guys get with Emilio about the unlocking issue?
I'm sorry, can I do what, Brenton?
Emilio said that they did what you asked them to, but it still doesn't retract. Could y'all just get with them after this, please?
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to get the contact information, but yes, I have no problem doing that with, we've got David that we got to do. We can do that. Not a problem. We do one-on-one. If you can give me their contact information, I'd greatly appreciate it.
We have a
Mr.
question. Yeah. No, go ahead.
Mr. Salcedo, real quick, Dave from ESSCO, no display yet. When you get a chance, thanks.
So he's looking for his 45.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And Bruce,
does this benefit? Yes. Does this benefit to the continuing education?
Yes, in Texas, it definitely does. And actually, we're now working with ALOA. So if anybody needs a certificate for their state, will you also email me at Travis, at my email, travis.howell@hlflake.com. We will be building that into the registration process in the future. But it's a brand new setup that we have with ALOA that we can offer ALOA certification for these webinars.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, any other questions?
One last question. I think I may have messed up in installing mine on the mount. I just knocked it over by accident, and now when I enter the code or present the card, it doesn't unlock. Like the LED will flash signaling a correct code, but the handle doesn't retract the latch.
So your spindle might have gone off. So if it fell, your spindle might have fell because it's sprung back. It might have fallen out. So you might need to take it off and reinstall it again.
Is there a right way and a wrong way to install that spindle, Alfredo, so that doesn't happen?
There's no right or wrong way.
Okay.
It's just a square, but if it fell and it got brute impact, it might have just gone off and not gone back to that square heading. So reinstalling it, it'll fix your problem. And that might be the other problem. I forget who was asking, might have as well, is their spindle might not, because Brenton said that his lever doesn't go down, or he pulls the lever but it doesn't open. So
it doesn't retract the latch. Yeah.
So that has nothing to do with the lock. It's probably the spindle that didn't sit right. So anyways, we'll reach out to him and try to fix that issue for them.
Okay, thank you.
So if there's anything else, guys, again, thank you so much for joining. Travis, I'll let you take it away.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, everybody. So just stay tuned to our events pages, and we'll have more training. We're going to do more sessions with Codelocks, as well as now that we're partnered with ALOA on education, there are, I believe there's 8 or 9 classes lined up just for next week alone. So keep an eye on the hlflake.com events page. Thank you very much, guys. Have a good weekend. Take care.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good one.